Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the backstory. If you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified whenever we post a new video. Now ladies and gentlemen, there's so many people who have been asking where Fred Okengo Matiang'i is. That is, after he came into the country some months back, he made some stopovers here and there, and there was that excitement. But then all of a sudden, he went under. But apparently, we are being told that he went back to the US to resign from the job that he was doing at, I think, World Bank or something. And yesterday, he arrived back into the country to now focus on his presidential campaign and presidential ambition. So when he arrived in the country yesterday, so many of his fans went to the airport to receive him. And he later addressed his fans, even though he did not take time, because he gave reasons as to why he did not take a lot of time to address his fans. I want us to watch that video. Then we'll come back and analyze the impact of Matiang'i's candidature and some of the issues that he needs to tackle if he is to be the president of the Republic of Kenya in 2027.
Thank you so much. Now is the time for us to have conversations one with another about the future of our country and try the best we can to be as orderly as we can ever be. That's why I was saying earlier, because this is the airport and usually the airport is a security place, we will be brief here so that we don't make it difficult for these wonderful people to manage the airport. Because you see, this is also the entry point to our country, and we must make it easier for those who are visiting us and those who are coming into our country to get in peacefully and go on with their business. I want us to organize a meeting. That's why I was looking for you, Angel. I want us to organize a meeting with all of you guys, leaders, within the next few days so that we can get together and talk and now plan things together.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, two things that we're taking away from that talk is that Matiang'i somehow has told his fans that he's here to concentrate on his bid for the presidency. And if you heard what he said, he's going to meet some of the key leaders of Jubilee Party, because apparently some of the members of Jubilee Party went to the airport to receive him. You can see from the videos that majority of the members or the supporters were donning Jubilee Party caps and t-shirts, which means Matiang'i will vie for the presidency on a Jubilee ticket. And he has called on Kenyans, most of the Gen Zs, to unite by taking IDs, applying for IDs, so that at the end of it, that is at the end of 2027, they can make that decision of electing the president that they feel they deserve. So one thing that I've taken note of is the fact that Matiang'i's focus is on getting the Gen Z's votes. And that is why he has a rallying call for Gen Z's to take the voters card. That is going to play a very, very key role for him as he vies for the presidency. But another issue that I've also taken note of is the fact that Jubilee as a party is so much interested in Matiang'i vying for the presidency on that party. But one thing that might affect Matiang'i is the rivalry between Jubilee Party, which is headed by former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and DCP Party headed by Rigathi Gachagua. Because at some point Rigathi Gachagua told Matiang'i to concentrate on consolidating his backyard, which is Kisii, as he works on consolidating Mount Kenya region. Yeah, Rigathi has done a very good job in consolidating Mount Kenya region and pushing President William Ruto out of Mount Kenya. But will he be comfortable with former President Uhuru Kenyatta's support for Matiang'i? Because I know there are people also who are not comfortable with joining Rigathi's DCP party because they perceive Rigathi Gachagua as being abrasive. And Rigathi also wants to be the kingpin of Mount Kenya. So that conflict between Rigathi Gachagua and former President Uhuru Kenyatta's party might affect Matiang'i in a way, in that if he might get the support of the voters, that is, of Mount Kenya. Because Mount Kenya voters agree on one thing, that they might not vote for William Ruto in 2027. And if they narrow down to supporting Matiang'i in 2027, what might affect Matiang'i is that he will need numbers in terms of members of parliament. So will he be able to garner enough members of parliament from the Mount Kenya region? He might get votes and members of parliament from his backyard, which is the Kisii land. I know some people are saying that. I'm doing this analysis based on tribal divisions. But what you need to understand is that politics is local. And in Kenya, we have not moved from the tribal groupings and tribal political parties. So if Matiang'i is not able to garner enough members of parliament from Mount Kenya region, that might affect him, which means he will have to work on a coalition with other political parties. Then the other issue that might also affect Matiang'i is the fact that, Rigathi Gachagua tried marketing Kalonzo Musyoka, and I believe he is very comfortable with Kalonzo Musyoka as compared to Matiang'i. So let's take for example, they give the mantle, that is the United Opposition gives the mantle to Matiang'i. Will Kalonzo Musyoka be comfortable to either deputize Matiang'i? If he doesn't feel comfortable and decides to run, or even decides to join President William Ruto, because I know there have been President William Ruto's handlers have been trying to extend the olive branch to Kalonzo so that he joins the government. What might break the camel's back in the United Opposition is the fact that there will be division at some point. Even though there's that talk of a united front by the United Opposition, but at some point there might be divisions, because Kalonzo believes that he's the senior most opposition leader right now, and it is his time to also go for the presidency, looking at his age and experience. So he expects the likes of Matiang'i to support him for the top post. So if he's not supported, most definitely Kalonzo will have to bolt out of the United Opposition and either go for the presidency on his own, or he can even join the likes of Raila and President William Ruto in 2027. The other factor that I'm going to look at is Matiang'i himself. Some weeks ago, there's a video that has been circulating of Matiang'i trying to lure the diaspora. He met some of Kenyans living in the diaspora, that is in the US, and Kenyans in the diaspora pledged support for Matiang'i, and they were willing to contribute money and funding his campaigns, which is a plus because for the campaigns you need resources. And these resources might not come from local Kenyans, they might come from Kenyans in diaspora. And given that he might also be supported by former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is a man of means, he has connections, he has friends who can support Matiang'i financially. But the other factor that Matiang'i needs to work on is the political angle. Matiang'i himself is known for being an administrator. He can deliver when given the job. If he takes the mantle as the president, he can deliver. But Kenyans have a very queer way or peculiar way of voting in their leaders. Sometimes they don't look at performance. And not only Kenyans, politics, if you look at it, politics is a game of emotions and a game of love. So you have to be someone who can speak up and appeal to the emotions of the electorate. And that needs someone who is charismatic. So the only undoing of Matiang'i is the charisma and the eloquence that can arouse an audience and a populace and rally them towards his cause. So he will need to work on that. He will need to have a team that can shape he will need to have a communication team that will shape his messaging, how he delivers the message, and how he will appeal to the emotions of Kenyans heading to 2027. Because I know even President William Ruto's handlers are not sleeping on the job. They are looking, it's going to be a chess game as we head in 2027. They will look at the loopholes that the united opposition will have, and they will take advantage of some of these loopholes so as to destroy the united opposition. Because, okay, Matiang'i's candidature is a very strong candidature, so that if it's supported by the united opposition, he can clinch the presidency. But the question is, will the united opposition, as they say, remain united up to 2027? So that is the big question, and that is one thing that Matiang'i will also need to work on. He will need to come up with a strategy on how to hold the opposition together if he is settled on as the joint opposition candidate. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll keep monitoring what is going on in the political scene and we'll keep you updated. But if you like our content and you're new here, kindly hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified whenever we post a new video. Until next time, bye-bye.